Well, we're not going to forget that election in a hurry. As you all know by now, sadly for me, and even more sadly, I believe, for UKCP and our beloved profession, I lost the election for chair. One of the biggest surprises of this election, and there were many, was to discover that apparently me, who couldn't be more moderate and middle of the road politically, am now considered far right. I was made to sound like a political extremist, the kind of tyrant who, given half a chance, would build a giant statue of themselves, would cancel elections, tempting under the circumstances, and maybe even invade a small, unsuspecting country. But in all seriousness, I think the process of this election signals an all-time low for our profession. It was a shabby, toxic, abusive campaign where my actual manifesto was ignored and instead my character was assassinated. Never in my professional career would I have believed that a large group of psychotherapists could behave like schoolyard bullies. I had hoped that UKCP would be quick to step in and call out such disgraceful behaviour, but no. Instead, they've referred to this election as being reflective of a healthy democracy. This election was the exact opposite of a healthy democracy. One of the defining features of a functioning democracy is the natural justice principle of audi et alteram partem. Let the other side be heard. Without accurate information, voters can't make an informed choice. I believe that UKCP therapists were denied a free and fair election. For example, not only were the questions I was asked at the hustings designed to benefit the board's agenda, but just as the brief campaign window opened, their house magazine, The New Psychotherapist, conveniently landed in every member's inbox, packed with articles endorsing UKCP's Edified strategy in direct opposition to my manifesto. It also carried a goodly number of photographs of my opponent to boot. This is not democracy. However, I congratulate Pippa Donovan on her election as chair. I don't envy the responsibility she now has to unite a deeply divided community, one that I believe is largely divided because of the very policies that the current board is seeking to impose. I predict that it's only a matter of time before this board's agenda becomes completely unmanageable and uninsurable due to a sharp increase in internal complaints and external legal cases that imposing Edified will bring. Despite everything I've been through, I remain proud of my campaign and I stand by my manifesto. My supporters and I fought on professional issues, not personalities. I stood for election because I wanted a truth and reconciliation process to explore why so many board members had resigned. And I want to take this opportunity to apologise to them for not being able to deliver any justice that they may deserve. I stood because I wanted to safeguard psychotherapy against being completely overtaken by radical left-wing ideology, which will not only be embedded in every aspect of our work, but also, I believe, in our perfectly well-functioning, neutral code of ethics. I wanted to preserve our code of ethics and for our profession to remain a profession that reflected diversity of thought and for it not to become merely an activist training camp. If ethics become conflated with political ideology, then future complaints will not just be about professional misconduct, but members will also find themselves complained about the wrong thing. If therapists are no longer to be judged by their competence, experience, or commitment to their clients, and instead on their ideological purity, this is no longer therapy. Unlike the UKCP's leadership, I wanted to talk about child safeguarding. I wanted to protect children from the dangerous blurring of boundaries, the boundaries between adult and child, between boy and girl, and to stop the insidious move towards fetishizing child sexual abuse in the name of queer theory. I find it alarming that in the current climate, these safeguarding concerns are considered wrong. And how strange to find myself in a world where it's also wrong to imagine an organisation where all its members feel represented, where we could have intellectual discussions in collegiate publications about such contested ideas as whether we're all really unconsciously racist, whether equity is just a dog whistle for abandoning meritocracy and for promoting discrimination, or whether women's rights, boys' and men's issues actually matter. I don't know about you, but that's the kind of publication I'd be really excited to read. Instead of addressing my manifesto's policies and concerns, supporters of my opponent's campaign produced a set of slurs. No mention of my nearly 30 years in practice, my book, Empathic Anger Management, my hundreds, if not thousands, of trainees, and my countless international conference presentations. And my titrated conversation concept, which I'm really proud of, where I describe how we all navigate disclosure carefully in different contexts, lost all its sophistication and was instead twisted into Sue Parker Hall believes in lying to clients. That's a lie. And apparently, my curiosity to look beyond mainstream media for a range of perspectives is the new heresy. So let me just state for the record, I'm an independent thinker. I constantly question mono narratives without nuance, no matter where they come from. I was particularly disappointed by members of our profession, like Aaron Balick. It was sheer hypocrisy to decline to sign a condemnatory letter, yet at the same time to circulate it widely on LinkedIn. Did someone of your standing really not understand the electoral process well enough to realise that I was denied a right to reply because the campaigning window had closed? Will all of you who are guilty of sharing that letter now do the right thing and share this statement? Then we can see who amongst us really is honourable. Now that I've got all that off my chest, and before I sign off, I want to say a genuine heartfelt thank you to all of those of you who voted for me. You saw through the smears. You recognise the importance of a UKCP that actually serves all its members, not just an ideological faction. You stood by me, and for that you have my deepest respect and appreciation. You have courage. You are independent thinkers. You aren't afraid to question, and you know that inclusion doesn't mean excluding those who disagree. You are the future of this profession, and I'm so proud to have had your support. If anyone viewing this would like to see my actual campaign stance and not the cartoon villain version created by my opponents, please read my manifesto. There's a link below. And if you'd like to hear my full response to the infamous open letter, please watch my video. There's also a link below to that. And if you'd like to connect with me, please seek me out on X at Sue P. Hall. I know that many of my supporters have been caught in the crossfire of all of this, and I want you to know that I genuinely feel for you. I know how shocking, confusing, divisive, and ugly this has been. I recognise that some of you have been intimidated and bullied too, simply for your non-activist beliefs. This is a situation that must not continue. If my concerns are your concerns, and you want a psychotherapy profession that still values critical thinking, intellectual diversity, and actual psychotherapy, then this conversation isn't over. And if the UKCP can't host our conversation, we will continue it irrespective of them. So let's keep talking. You're not alone. There's at least 518 of us. I'm ready to do what therapists usually do best and what the UKCP is failing to do, and that's to listen. And I'd really welcome your contact. Thank you so much for watching.